Welcome back. A custody battle over a child is possibly one of the most gut-wrenching things you can imagine experiencing. But now, what we know is some medical workers on the front lines are actually going through it as they work nonstop trying to save lives. How some are saying that dedication is now being used against them. Until a couple of weeks ago, Florida emergency room doctor Theresa Greene looked forward to seeing her 4-year-old daughter after doing battle on the front lines of the coronavirus. But her ex-husband, concerned about the possibility she would expose their daughter to the virus, appealed for temporary custody. Dr. Greene was stunned when a Florida judge agreed to his request. The judge saying, in order to protect the best interests of the minor child, this court temporarily suspends the former wife's time sharing until further order of court. The suspension is solely related to the outbreak of COVID-19, and the mother will be entitled to an equivalent makeup time sharing for each day lost.
We are on the front lines, risking our lives, trying to save others, fighting against, an enemy that we don't know that much about. And to take our children away, it's just so cruel.
Dr. Greene says as a single parent, she's a victim of discrimination.
How can you tell me, because I'm divorced, that I don't get a chance to see my daughter? That married people can come home and hug their children, but I won't even be able to see mine.
As a result of the custody decision, she's now fighting on two fronts: in the emergency room, trying to save lives, and in court to regain custody of her child. Dr. Theresa Greene and her attorney, Stephen Nullman, join us now in Cyber Hall.
Theresa, the emergency order filed by your ex-husband, was that a complete surprise that he had filed this?
It was. I mean, I was shocked. He hadn't expressed his concerns to me. And, I thought about it in the context of other people were hearing, other significant others are bringing up these concerns, but he hadn't expressed his concerns to me, so it came as a surprise.
Tell me what went through your mind when you learned that he'd gone to the courts and tried to pursue this option.
I said, sort of here goes. I can't believe he's trying this, was sort of my thought, honestly. And I never thought the judge would rule in his favor, because I'd heard about precedents in other states. And I really didn't think it was a possibility. I was very, very shocked by the judge's ruling.
You mentioned that other coworkers, particularly those who are single parents, had kind of talked about some of these challenges that could come about as a result of you being on the front lines and a single parent. But going back to your relationship with your ex, when this emergency started, did you sit down with him, or did he ask any questions related to the safety of your daughter? Was this ever brought up even casually as a concern from him?
No, he never asked about if he thought our daughter was safe. He, in fact, was planning a trip, rescheduling a trip to Disney for the beginning of April. And I said to him, I don't think that's going to be happening. Disney isn't going to be reopening. I'm sure I'll switch the day with you to make your trip happen, but I don't really think that's a good idea. And so he wasn't really necessarily concerned a few weeks ago.
Steve, this order from the judge, he made his decision, as he put it, to protect the best interests of the child from this deadly virus. Have you heard of anything like this ever?
No, I have not. Good morning. This is really a case of first impression. And Dr. Greene's case, the judge made his ruling based upon an emergency motion that was filed by the father. We were given about 2 to 3 hours notice from when the motion was filed until the judge heard the matter. The court did not take any evidence from any medical providers or anybody that has any medical expertise as to whether or not what Mr. Greene was seeking was really an appropriate remedy, or whether it was in the best interest of their child to preclude Dr. Greene from exercising time sharing with their child while she was treating the patients.
Theresa, your ex-husband's attorney stated you would continue to have daily video chats with your daughter and would get to make up for that lost time after the state of emergency is lifted. That wasn't enough for you. That didn't settle well with you. That didn't set well with you at all.
Not at all. I mean, the FaceTiming with her is just not the same for her or for me. She was telling me on FaceTime the other day that like the cat was mad at me. Like I know she was already starting to feel it. And the time sharing being made up doesn't really work well with my work schedule. I have to give them a certain amount of shifts a month. And so I don't really, I work when I don't have her. So, I might get the days, but I couldn't actually use them. I mean, she needs me now. It's a hard time for the kids that they're not going to school. Their routine has been completely disrupted. And I really think she needs her mother now and not in who knows how long, 3 months, 6 months when this is over.
Does she have any idea what's going on, what's happening between you and your ex-husband?
I mean, unfortunately, I don't think that she, she knows things aren't necessarily well, but not specifically. I mean, I don't talk about him. I don't know what goes on the other end, but I mean, she doesn't really bring it up, but I do feel like, she might be feeling the strain, and I really hope it's something we can change in the future.
When she says, Mommy, I want to see you, Mommy, I want to see you, what do you say to her, knowing that this order prevents you from seeing her?
I just said, hopefully I'll see you as soon as I can. I love you. You can call me. I've told her, you tell Daddy to call me anytime you want. I hope this will all be over soon. I just said, we're trying to work things out. I didn't say it's because Daddy won't let me, those are things I'm not going to say. So I just told her I was working to see her as soon as I could.
Coming up, Theresa and her attorney Steve will stay with us to talk about the judge's decision. What happened when she fought back?
We are back with Dr. Theresa Greene and her attorney, Stephen Nullman. 2 weeks ago, Theresa's ex-husband filed an emergency order claiming that their daughter was in danger because of Theresa's work as an ER physician treating COVID-19 patients.
Steve, you, on behalf of Theresa, appealed that judge's order. What happened?
So on April 13th, Monday morning, we filed an appeal with the 3rd District Court of Appeal. We asked for a couple things, but most pressingly, we asked for them to stay the operation of Judge Shapiro's order, meaning that while the appellate court evaluated our appeal, Dr. Greene would still be able to exercise time sharing with their child in accordance to their parenting agreement. So the next day, April 14th, we received an order from the appellate court which granted our motion to stay so that Dr. Greene could continue seeing her daughter while the appellate court evaluated the merits of our appeal.
Theresa, you went 5 days without seeing your daughter after that court order. I cannot imagine being forced to go one night without seeing my son. I think anybody watching this, it's one thing if they're going to go stay with a grandparent or go to camp, but to be forced away from your child. What was that first night like for you? What was the second night like for you?
I mean, it was really heart-wrenching. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, and we just spent all the time fighting it, doing whatever we thought we could to make a difference that I could get her back as soon as I could. So my focus was really there, and it kept me busy, but just the possibility that I'd never get her back, was always in the back of my head, not never, but until this ends, was always in the back of my mind, and it's really terrifying.
I can't imagine again, like I said, being told I can't see my child because of my work. So there you are working long hours. You go home to an empty home with her things still around you. Were there a lot of tears?
Yes, there were. I mean, and I'm not much of a crier. But it is. It's like hard to see the things there when she's not there. But unfortunately, that's a little bit of the reality of being a divorced parent too. Is it something that you get used to? Is that my daughter's she is gone half the time. So I know it would just continue to get harder if this had gone on any longer, and if things that ends up being a decision the court makes because we're still in their hands.
All right, so Theresa, you were reunited last Wednesday with your daughter. I know she's right off to the camera side. We can't see her, but what was that like for you?
I mean, I was just overjoyed. She makes my life complete, and I can't really function normally without her. So we just had a normal day, sort of we went night swimming last night. We made, princess crowns, did some little crafts, played her imaginary games that she loves. And, life went back to normal as it can be in these times,
Steve, from a legal standpoint, what happens next? We don't know when life will return to normal, when first responders like Dr. Greene will get back to a regular schedule, whatever that means. So what are the next steps here?
Well, we are hopeful that the appellate court will rule in our favor so that the restriction of Dr. Greene exercising her time sharing with their daughter is eliminated, so that she would be able to continue to exercise time sharing as she is under their agreement and continue to work.
This case could be what they call the canary in the coal mine, one of the first of many to come, sadly, as a result of what we're dealing with. Are you hearing from essential workers? Are you seeing this concern tick up, this fear tick up?
Well, sadly, we're seeing it, and I'm hearing from people across the country that are defending similar attempts by other litigants as they go through this pandemic. So I'm hearing from lawyers and professionals throughout the country that are in similar situations, and I just hope that our result is a victorious one, and I hope the same for people across the country that are experiencing the same thing.
Theresa, you have some people who might have said to you, quit the job, that being with your daughter is more important than being on the front lines. What do you say to those who felt or feel that this is a choice between being a mom or being a healthcare worker?
I want my daughter to grow up to respect me, and I need to do my work. Increasingly, we're going to need people there in the emergency room to save lives. I'm part of a team. I can't let that team down. And I can't let my patients down. So I just felt like it was a decision that I shouldn't be forced to make. And that's why I wanted to fight this so hard. I need to be there for my daughter. That I wasn't giving up, but I also didn't want to give up my work.
Dr. Theresa Greene, Steve Nullman, thank you both for bringing this story to light and joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We have a statement from Theresa's ex-husband, Eric Greene's attorney, Paul Leanoff. It reads in part, just as Mr. Greene initially sought the help of the law to protect the child, he will comply with and honor this latest order of the appellate court regarding the most appropriate means to maintain the child's safety. The attorney went on to say, Mr. Greene and I reiterate our respect for the important job being done by Dr. Greene and her fellow healthcare providers, and we pray for their health as they continue their difficult work during this pandemic. Again, one of the unimaginable things we're having to talk about as a result of this crisis.